Have you noticed all the news around the new iPhone 15 lineup, from the burn-in titanium, the broken back glass, and the removal of the mute? There's a lot to look at if you're thinking of upgrading your iPhone, so I've broken the iPhone consumer down into 3 separate segments. The first segment is the people who buy a new iPhone every year for no reason, and they probably couldn't even tell you the reason on why they're buying it in the first place, even if you asked. And the second segment of buyers is going to be the biggest segment, and that is the buyer that buys a new iPhone every 2 to 4 years. They haven't upgraded their phone in years. Maybe they're tied in with a cellular contract, or maybe they just don't want to spend $1,000+ every single year to get the new iPhone. And then there's a third segment, and these are the tech-heavy, spec-heavy, very conscious of the new technology human beings that want the new phone for the new technology, and in particular, usually the camera system. To get even more specific, usually the video system in the phone. This entire video is actually shot on an iPhone 14 Pro stacked up on a bunch of suitcases because I'm traveling. And no matter if you're an Android or an iPhone person, I think everybody can agree photos hit or miss on the iPhone, but nobody beats the video that comes out of the iPhone, and especially the Pro models. But I hope you know that there's new features on this iPhone 15 lineup that will satisfy every segment of consumers. So make sure that you subscribe and like if this video added any value to you, and stick around to see which segment you fall in and if this new iPhone fits your needs for an upgrade. So starting off with the worst but still important segment, the new iPhone 15 lineup is going to have a lot of new features that you can brag about to your friends. Just starting off with the baseline models, all of those are coming with the dynamic island. They're coming with a 48 megapixel camera, so you can take crispy photos and have that dynamic island to show your friends that you have the new cool thing. And if you're upgrading to the Pro models, there's a new titanium case around all the phones on the Pro and the Pro Max, but if you put your phone into an actual case, you probably won't be able to see it unless it's clear, but then most cases that are clear are usually yellow. I'm interested to see how this actually turns out. Plus I saw somebody read that it's only like $50 worth of titanium at market value. So if you're Apple, you're probably spending maybe like $20 a phone on the titanium, so it's not really a lot, but whatever. The Pro models are supposed to be a little bit lighter than the 14 Pro models, because this 14 Pro, although amazing, is really heavy in my pocket, and you're gonna have the 5x telephoto lens to take those really crispy zoomed in photos. But is it worth spending $1,500 to upgrade to that? I'll let you be the decider. Now moving into the biggest segment of buyers, and that's the consumer that buys an iPhone every 2 to 4 years. And if you're coming from something like an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 12, and your phone's starting to tank a little bit, the battery's starting to get nuked through software updates, whatever that is, the iPhone 15 lineup, even the baseline models, are going to be a drastic change to you. You're going to get a new port, a new camera system, the dynamic island, and your overall operating system, and features such as name drop are going to be added benefits to you. And if you want to get one of the Pro models, you're going to be pleasantly surprised as well. And just remember, with USB-C, your phone's a little bit more future-proof. We're going to be getting into that later, don't worry, but that's one thing to consider as well. And now we come to the most unique and technical segment of all, and that is the techie and the techie looking for the best camera system on a phone. I think we all know for a while now, the iPhone has been the industry standard for video. Maybe not the best for photo, but when it comes to video recording on a smartphone, I think we're all confident that nothing beats the iPhone, especially the Pro models. I think this consumer is gonna want nothing but the Pro Max, maybe the Pro at minimum. So we're gonna get in right now. Is this new camera system worth upgrading your phone? Whenever you're talking about recording video on a phone, I think people have to realize that there is a set of limitations. Although it's filming in Apple ProRes and the new iPhone 15 Pro models are going to be filmed in log format, I don't think anybody's going to be taking the iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max out and shooting a movie unless Apple's given a little bit of incentive, like they did in their keynote. But there are some added benefits that are on the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max only, that this iPhone 14 Pro and the 13 Pro, all the Pro phones from the 13 and the 14 lineups, don't have. And that is a USB-C port to offload video. The biggest issue that I have with this phone is it fills up super quick if I'm filming in ProRes, and to take it off the phone takes nearly an hour. What I had to do for this video is film a section, take it off of the iPhone, delete it, and then restart on the next section because my phone just filled up way too quickly. An 18-minute Apple ProRes file is nearly 100 gigabytes, which is just a lot to put on a laptop. It's a lot to take off a phone, especially through Lightning, which sucks. So although this phone's around 250 gigabytes, if it was the 15 Pro model, I'd be able to get a 2 terabyte SSD card, just plug it into the phone, and I could probably record for hours on end. Can't do that right now. And the process of recording an hour-long video right now is just too much. It would literally take me 12 hours. I can't do it. So as I'm talking it through right now, if you have the money, you probably should upgrade to the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, just based off the SSD. I think the lack of headaches would make up for the money right there. And the last added benefit, which really does not matter whatsoever right now, is you're supposedly going to be able to film spatial video for the Apple Vision Pro, which I think is pretty cool. We were all wondering, how were you going to get this 3D video on that device? Now we know, it's gonna be through the iPhone. So you've seen me go over all the specs of the new iPhone lineups, and you've seen me give you good reasons that you might wanna actually buy the iPhone 15 if you fall into a certain segment. But now I'm gonna give you a reason not to upgrade your phone in the iPhone 15 lineup, although we're gonna completely skip over the first segment of people, because you're probably gonna buy it anyways. I'm gonna go into the second segment of people saying that if you have an iPhone from the 13 or the 14 lineup, the need for you to upgrade to the 15 lineup is so minuscule. Unless you're having a problem with your phone or there's a big promotion with your cellular provider, there's no reason to upgrade. The cameras are still really good on those phones, and if your whole thing is video, you might as well just get a mirrorless camera as is. And you can still film in ProRes on the 13 and the 14 Pro models, so there is that feature there, although it's maybe not as crispy as the new log formatted 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. It's still pretty good quality. I mean, look at this video right now. Horrible lighting, horrible situation, and we're still managing through. Now let's say you're on a budget and you still have a phone in the iPhone 11 or iPhone 12 lineup. Is there a real need for you to upgrade? Well, unless your phone's having a problem, just stick with the phone you had. I was using an iPhone 12 and I really had no issues with it. So if you're trying to save some money and you don't really feel like you need to upgrade yet, there's a good reason not to. That's because the iPhones really just don't change that much year over year. Aside from Apple wanting you to buy as many products as you possibly can, I think they've realized that a lot of people fall into the second segment where you're gonna get a new phone every 2 to 4 years, which is completely reasonable, but you have to realize that's a strategic approach by Apple. They're such a big company that there's no real reason to put a whole bunch of risk into the mature product that is the iPhone. When people buy an iPhone, they have a set of expectations. Apple has a recipe that works, and there's no real business case to create a lot of risk for that product for them, so they're just gonna make all these minuscule changes over time and hope that it adds up. I know what people are thinking, it's a port, who really cares? But let's just think about it for a sec. Let's say you have this phone for 4 to 5 years. In 5 years from now, how many people are still gonna be using a Lightning port? And how much availability of that Lightning port is gonna be out there? Yes, Lightning cords will still be around for 5 to 10 years. People are still gonna need them and still want them for the next little bit. As well, one thing to consider, let's say you go over to the EU and you forget your charging cord. There actually might not be a Lightning cord available in that entire section of the world 5 years from now. You never know. So that's why I didn't recommend the iPhone 14 lineup at a discounted price, because that is one thing to consider. Now, if you're somebody who gets a phone every 2 years, this does not affect you. But if you're somebody who's trying to buy a new phone for the next half a decade, that port situation, which has somehow come into legislation, might be something to consider. Thank you everybody for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts below. And are you buying a new phone from the iPhone 15 lineup? Thank you everybody. Have a great rest of the day.